Good afternoon, everyone. Here's your update for September 11th, 2020. Now, we've been locked in a fairly warm and humid pattern because of that tropical air mass due to that tropical disturbance south of us, which made landfall, if you want to call it that, in North Carolina today. It just brought some rain showers, no concern. But for us, it brought scattered rain showers and pretty humid weather and brought pretty substantial flash flooding to the Washington, D.C. area, places like Silver Spring, Hyattstown, Bethesda, and Chevy Chase, and even downtown D.C. had some pretty bad flooding yesterday from the disturbance. Now let's talk about weather here in Salisbury. It's actually going to be a pretty good weekend. You can expect Saturday to be the best day because we will be in between a high pressure system and a weak cold front to the south in the Carolinas. Now, let's talk about why this is. Now, as you can see right in front of you, here's a weather map, a surface map of the weather on Saturday, which is tomorrow, September 12th. We, of course, Delmarva, we all know where that is. And that the high pressure system, that is the H, that's in Maine, so that's going to dominate New England. That will bring fairly mild conditions to them. And there's a cold front in the Carolinas, which will bring some scattered rain showers for them, maybe some heavy rain into the mountains of North and South Carolina. Now, for us, that's going to bring pretty nice weather. It's going to be very calm. It's going to be relatively not as humid. Those dew points will be right around 60, which is still fairly humid, but it's not going to be. You're not going to feel it. Let's say, since we've been used to those dew points in the 70s to even upper 70s. This will be right around 60 degrees, which is very, very mild in terms of dew point. So Saturday's the best day, mid 70s, not a lot of humidity and sunny skies. Go outside for a run, a walk. It's a perfect day for that. I know I will. I'll be going for my run after my shift in the morning, and it's going to be great. Now let's talk about what else is coming. So on Sunday, this is when those high humidity values come back. Now again, let's talk about why. You see those wind barbs or those things that look like flags. Now, how do you tell which way the wind is coming? Now, when I started, I thought, oh, the wind must be coming towards the flag, but it's coming towards when the flag is. That's why these calls are wind barbs. So you see the wind is coming from the southwest. That brings in warm and humid air. Now, why? Usually, you want to say, oh, what weather is warmest? Usually for the climate. That's area south, like the southeast and the southwest in Texas. Those areas have warmer air. Now, bringing those winds from the southwest, you're not going to have those like Florida temperatures or Texas temperatures, of course. You're going to have fairly warm and humid weather. So we're talking here in Salisbury, you're talking about the low to mid 80s with those dew points in the low 70s. So it is going to be pretty humid on Sunday. It's obviously still summer. Summer ends in 10 days, although we all know fall weather doesn't really kick in until early October at the earliest. So, Sunday again, it's going to be pretty humid and warm. As you can see, the weather map, we will be locked into a high pressure system, but instead of a cold front to the south, pretty much stationary or moving away from us, we will be part of a warm front, which will lift north of us right around midday on Sunday, bringing in those warm and humid temperatures. Now, before that warm front comes in, if you're up early enough, it should be not as humid. But as that warm front lifts north, you will feel those values climb up in terms of the humidity and the temperature. Okay, now that is Sunday. The screen's going all over the place. Let me fix that. That's on Sunday. So basis Saturday, really nice, not as humid, mid 70s, and a lot of sunshine. Sunday, a bit more humid, and a tad warmer, and still a lot of sunshine. So not a bad weekend. Now let's shift our talk to national weather. We have a lot to talk about with the wildfires and the tropics still pretty active. It's been active since June. Now, there's over 100 wildfires out west in places like Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, and Colorado, and Arizona, among many others. They haven't had a lot of help from nature. It's been pretty dry out there, not a lot of rain. But fortunately for people out there, there's going to be an upper level low swinging through, which will bring in much needed moisture and some rain, not a whole lot, but moisture is really what the firefighters need to really contain these fires. Unfortunately, California, although you will get some moisture from this, most of it will be in Oregon and Washington. So there's all those fires in Oregon. They will have some help from Mother Nature bringing in that much needed moisture and some rain, which is great. Let's turn our attention to the tropics, because of course, unless you've been living under a rock, it's fairly busy. We have 6 places to watch. I'm really concerned about one of these in terms of impacts for the U.S. Maybe 2 down the road. The little red thing, which will become either Sally or Teddy, might be an issue, but that's way too far down the road. I'm not really concerned about the little yellow one. That's not really an area of issue. It's just going to cause some rain for parts of Mexico and parts of southeast Texas along the Gulf. What I am concerned about in terms of U.S. impacts is, I believe it's Invest 95L, which, let me just double check on that. It's actually Invest 96L. My apologies. Now, Invest 96L, as you can see, it's getting a little bit more organized. Although it's still pretty broad, there's not a lot of stuff going on in terms of organization. It is becoming more organized, and a low pressure system might be popping between the Northwest Bahamas and Southeast Florida. Now, even if this is not formed before Florida, which I would be surprised if this thing does become a depression by the time it reaches Florida, it is expected to become a tropical depression and likely a tropical storm by the time it reaches landfall. Now, where this landfall is, how strong it gets, I'm sure all the most guidance takes us as either a moderate tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane. So again, a lot of stuff we don't know what's going to happen with this, although this is the area that I'm concerned about for the short term. Again, long term, which is 95L, which has a pretty good chance of formation. That's a concern for later down the road. But again, the main concern right now is 96L, which is in the Bahamas, which will impact the Gulf Coast. We will see what happens with that. Now, turning our attention to the storms that are named. With Tropical Storm Paulette, it has, as you see, this is great sites from Levi Cowan on Tropical Tidbits. I'm not really a tropical expert, but I'll just say stuff what I see. So, it looks pretty organized, had lots of convection. I believe I saw somewhere that the surface low is actually south of it, but it's still pretty organized despite pretty strong wind shear, and the only concern, it will be a Category 2-3 hurricane for parts of Bermuda. Again, fortunately, that island is pretty small, so they might not really get the eye, but they will get impacts. They will get that high surf, but again, how close the eye of Paulette gets is any really guess. There's not even an eye now, but just the center. How close it gets is anyone's guess. They average a hurricane or a tropical storm landfall every 6 or 7 years. The last one was, I believe, Nicole in 2016. This will be the first time a named storm has come from this direction, because most of them recurve and come from the southwest. This one will be coming from the southeast. Tropical Storm Renee. This is the next storm. It was not organized at all. It had no convection. Might have been might not even tropical, but it is now. There's a pretty good center. I mean, there's a pretty good center of circulation right there. There's really good convection popping up. But despite Paulette, Renee has pretty good environment. It doesn't have a lot of wind shear, but it hasn't really taken advantage yet. And I'm not expecting this to become a hurricane. Again, no threat to land. It's not going to hit any island. The only concern is those shipping lanes. Now, back to this is 95L. This is a possible concern way down the road. Guidance has us either going north and between North Carolina and Bermuda, or it has going a little south of there, hitting maybe land somewhere. But again, this is a long-term concern, possible concern. Not really concerned about it for the moment. We'll see what happens with it in early to mid next week when we'll have a better idea. Because this thing isn't even organized yet. It doesn't have a defined center, but it is expected to go south of those two high-pressure systems and could threaten land in the next week or two. So that's 95L. Has a lot of disorganized showers and thunderstorms, but it is expected to become relatively more organized and should become named either Sally or Teddy in the coming days. So again, the basin is very active. It's been active since June. This made the main development region right off Africa has been pumping storms since July. It's not really common for storms to be really active in there since July. So this is a pretty active season, although it doesn't have a lot of ACE or accumulated cyclonic energy, which pretty much tells how strong it is, how long it lasts. So Hurricane Laura, we all know that as a Category 4 hurricane, but didn't last long. So all of that ACE was pretty low, which is great. The least amount of ACE we have is the least amount of strongest storms, which is good for people, of course. So that's today's update. I will be back again tomorrow evening from a different location. I'll be in Fenwick Island. So I'll see you all tomorrow evening. Stay safe.